I used to love watching Bear Grylls on Man vs. Wild. Do you guys remember that show? Or are you too young for that? Anyway, if you have a chance, look him up on YouTube. So the premise of the show is he'd go on these extreme adventures, walking through the jungle, showing how we can survive in the wild if we ever were to get stranded. Now, I'm not the type of person who likes extreme sports, but what fascinated me about Bear Grylls is that he would put himself in extremely uncomfortable situations and would still be perfectly content. For example, I remember this one show where he was walking across a freezing cold rapid in the middle of winter with snow and ice and everything floating by while he was narrating what was happening to his body, how it was starting to physically shut down from hypothermia, and how in a few more minutes he might lose consciousness. And he said all this with a big smile. I mean, he didn't even look like he was uncomfortable at all. Like the situation did not match the way he was reacting. Meanwhile, I was wincing and scowling and suffering for him just imagining the freezing cold water. And when I saw him do this, it was as if I was seeing this man demonstrate the type of control and power humans can have. There he was, demonstrating how suffering is psychological and how we can have space between ourselves and bodily pain. It was absolutely fascinating. It's not only in Bear Grylls I see this in. People who exercise and lift weights, I see the control they have. They feel the pain, and yet they do their reps anyways, demonstrating how we ultimately have control over ourselves. Now, I had a similar experience, but mine was a bit more spiritual in nature. There was this one time several years back when my pet bunny was humping everything. She was humping stuffed animals, feet, arms, whatever she can find. And when she was doing this, she would bite down hard on whatever she was humping. Now, if she humps your feet or arm and she bites down hard, it hurts. She drew blood. She broke skin and drew blood several times doing this. Anyway, at the time, I was in a spiritual bliss because I had recently gone through a spiritual expansion, like a growth spurt type of stuff. Basically, I was feeling the high you feel after a surge of awakening. So I was in this blissful state where nothing could bother me because I was just full of love. So anyway, at that time, I was playing with my bunny when she started to hump my arm, as I told you she used to do. And well, while she was humping, she bit down hard on my arm. It really hurt, but because I was in this blissful mode, I felt the pain all right, but oddly, I didn't feel the suffering that comes with the pain usually. So I just sat there with her teeth still clenching into my flesh, completely fascinated at how I was feeling this sharp pain going through my arm and up to my neck and to my head. But, I was able to sit there with the pain, letting the pain be without me doing anything about it because I was not suffering. My mind was not interpreting this pain as bad. So I was completely content to just be. It was one of the most empowering experiences I had. I understood that I had the ultimate control, even over pain. I think in our society, we're so comfortable. Most of us live in a place where there's running water, running electricity, air conditioning, heating, ample food, ample entertainment, and we're just so comfortable. Now, comfortable is great until we get so used to it that our mental state starts to depend on these comforts. Here's a simple example. If we ever find ourselves in a blackout situation with no electricity for, let's say, several days, I imagine that there's going to be mass panic. People are going to be anxious and really suffer as their patience runs out, and they're going to start worrying and becoming anxious. Same thing with heating or air conditioning. Take away air conditioning on a hot day, And immediately we see how much we suffer psychologically. It really goes beyond physical discomfort. That's how dependent we are on our modern comforts. Our mental stability is dependent on our comforts. This makes us extremely vulnerable to control. If, let's say, a powerful institution wants to sway us or create chaos, all they have to do is take away one of our modern comforts. One of the most powerful things we can do is to practice being uncomfortable. If you want to know who you really are and how much control and power you actually have, practice being uncomfortable while doing nothing about it. The next time someone makes you angry, instead of doing anything about it or immediately reacting to it, sit with the anger. Sit with the uncomfortable emotion and ask whether you can sit there and feel everything and yet choose to do absolutely nothing. Your mind is going to tell you that you're a victim. They need to be told off, that the person needs to be stopped before they hurt other people. Hear all of that and yet do nothing about it. Just let your mind rant. Let your body feel the emotion, but sit with the ultimate control. You will act only when you decide to act, not because your mind tells you something or because you're feeling a certain way. You have the ultimate control, not your mind, not your body. They are your children and you are the parent, and you're letting your children have their tantrum while you wait quietly without reacting. At the end of that, you're going to feel such a huge understanding of the type of power you have over yourself. On a similar note, try taking a cold shower. Sit under the cold water. Let your mind go through its thoughts of complaining, how cold it is, how uncomfortable it is, and how it can't take it any longer, and on and on. Feel the physical sensation, the physical discomfort of the cold water. Feel it all, observe it all, but don't let any of that make you act. You will only act when you decide to act. Take yourself out of the cold water only when you decide it's time to get out. You're going to feel this strong sense of empowerment to have overcome yourself. And just like so, take moments out of your day to sit with uncomfortable feelings and uncomfortable thoughts. And practice doing nothing about it, observing it, and letting it not influence your action. Do nothing but sit with the discomfort and see how long you can go. If everyone were to do this, I think we can all start to create our life in a conscious way rather than living reactively to all the fears in our life. If we know how to sit with our fears and learn to do nothing about it, learn to act only when we decide to act rather than let our fears drive us, we can then make conscious decisions, wise decisions that come from the core of our being. What kind of world would that create? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this talk as much as I enjoyed making this video. Please let me know in the comment section below if you're willing to try taking a cold shower. Like always, thanks for joining me in this discussion and hope to feel your beautiful energy back here again next time. Regards, Ray.
Oh no. Thank you.